There's something that has always been very, very close to my heart, and that's race games.
Come on, rice shower. Rice shower. Pass that bitch, rice shower. Eat her ass.
Not that one, although a good one, not that one. Racing games has kind of become a niche thing. You don't really hear about them as much as you did back in the day. There are race games being released nowadays, sure, but they aren't anywhere near as exciting as they used to be. I'm talking the arcade racers, the stuff that used to give you that crazy sense of speed, the thrill, and all this other stuff. The only race games that really gets released nowadays is sim racing, stuff like F1 or Gran Turismo. You either like cars because you grew up playing these racing games or you grew up watching Fast and Furious. And I have not watched a single Fast and Furious movie in my life, but I have played a lot of race games. I loved playing the Fast and Furious arcade game inside of Chuck E. Cheese as a little kid because of all of the nice, cool cars that I would be seeing all the time. I miss how exciting race games used to be. It's what gave me my love for sports cars and just cool cars in general. With the games back then, you could tell that they actually cared and they put love and effort into majority of the race games that they would create. There were more bangers than there were flops, and I kind of miss that feeling, that excitement, that passion that I used to have in my eyes when playing these games. And to prove that these aren't just pulling the strings of nostalgia on me, all the footage that you'll be seeing in the background is footage of my own gameplay. I have put nearly 100 hours in these racers, and I haven't played any of them in multiple years. Some of them may or may not have caused me to crash out. And then these cars that pass the fuck, these are gonna be racers from the 2000s. I would include the 2010s, but I think that 10 years for a game is old enough. And to make this video not as long, I'm just gonna do the 2000s. So let's jump back in time and see what made these racers so exciting for kid me to come home and play. Starting off with Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, the first race game that I ever played, and it honestly has one of the best introductions ever. This intro is probably by far one of my most favorite intros of all time. It's definitely my top for race games. In fact, this also plays a really big part in me liking the Murcielago. I don't like Lamborghinis like that, but the Murcielago is one of the very few Lambos that I would actually love to have. It's a beautiful looking car. Imagine buying this game, you're already excited to play it, and then you see this intro. It's amazing. It's as beautiful as the first time I've seen it. It never gets old. I still get goosebumps from seeing it. But moving on from the intro, something about the old racers is that the acceleration is on X instead of the triggers. I don't know why we were comfortable with that. I don't know why we allowed that, but there is two abilities that you can use, which is Zone Freeze and Zone Zoom. Zone Zoom allows you to see ahead of the track and see if there's any police cars, roadblocks, or spike strips, you know, stuff like that. Zone Freeze allows you to see around the car. I never used either of these abilities, not once. I used manual driving, which replaces those abilities with shift up and shift down. So the whole time I played, I thought that I just couldn't use it anyway. After recording this entire thing, I realized that I'm just a dumbass and I just never actually read the controls that I was staring at for like 5 minutes. You have to do a button combination in order to do the abilities. There are two main game modes. There is Championship and there is Hot Pursuit. And I'm just gonna get Championship out the way. Championship is kind of mediocre. It's not terrible, it's not fun, but it's just not really that. It's bland. It's just nothing but regular racing. There's no cops involved, there's no high-speed chase involved, there's no intensity. The AI can be difficult, sure, but if you're decent at racing games, you honestly won't have a problem. You could beat almost all of the races on damn near one try if you just don't mess up. I totally didn't do that. Come on! Combining both Hot Pursuit and the Championship campaigns, there's a total of 60 or more races. And the neat part about doing these races or doing the missions, campaign, whatever you want to call it, you don't have to go in order. If you want to start off and go all the way down the right side first, you're 100% allowed to do that, which is a very neat thing because it allows you to get to the faster cars faster. Now, getting into Hot Pursuit, the main fun of the game, where cop chases are a thing. The game starts you off with a beautiful Lotus Elise. You're not starting off with the shit box, but you are starting off with something quite slow. The first race that you're gonna do is a sprint time attack. In this first level, they let you know just how annoying these cops can really be and just how fast you can really gain heat. And realistically, you won't be able to tell the difference between 1-star and 4-star because you can't even be chased long enough on 1-star. Just because you get 4 stars, that don't mean that the police has fully scaled with their difficulty, because the longer the chase goes on, the worse it gets. The only way to get these police off of you is if you make them wreck somehow, take a shortcut when they're not glued onto you, or outrun them. The only way that you can really make them wreck is if you use traffic cars, because you trying to brute force them and take them out is almost never gonna happen. The police system is very brutal, but at the beginning, they're only gonna throw out roadblocks, and they are gonna keep throwing it out. It doesn't matter how many times you blow past a roadblock, they will immediately summon another roadblock. And I'm not kidding when I say immediately.
Request permission to use a roadblock. 9 all units. Let's set the roadblock. 19-9. The suspect has gone through the roadblock. 19-9. Let's try setting up another roadblock. Copy 19.
If you so much as scratch the police car that's a part of the roadblock, you lose all momentum. You have to go back to first gear and just hope that the police doesn't surround you or put you on a wall, because if they do, you're gonna get arrested. Wait a minute, that's a roadblock.
19-9. The suspect has blasted
Yo,
through the roadblock.
wait, what the fuck?
19-9. Let's get another roadblock set.
Whoa, that was real close. Oh my God. You're busted? What are you? Okay. These police will do anything in their power to pin you down. They will pit maneuver you at the highest speed, and they will do it damn near flawlessly. It's like, I don't know how they work so well and coordinate so well with each other, but they do. It's honestly amazing. It's annoying, but it's amazing that they can do that. Because in the other games, they aren't exactly like this. It's mind-boggling. I'm like, yeah, you have your most wanted police system, but that's honestly the only other police system, in my opinion, that's difficult. I don't think the police has caught me this many times in Need for Speed ever. Now, even though these police can be insane, you're actually able to use them to your advantage too, and sometimes they may even help you out in the game. If you're not in first place, the AI will take over. They will go so far ahead of you, but the police might be able to stop them, even if it's right by the finish line. If the AI gets in front of you, it's kind of like they get a speed boost, or at least it feels like it. And the person in front, whatever cop is there waiting, they will get that cop. It allows you to get somewhat of a breather from being chased by the cops. It's like the person in first place is actually the most wanted. Even though everyone in the race is going to be targeted, the person in first place is more likely to be targeted, or to be targeted more frequently. After you move up a little bit more in the races, the police is growing more tired of your shit. Now they have helicopters and spike strips. These aren't normal helicopters, because the helicopters, they drop explosives. And even while this helicopter is chasing you and throwing these explosives, they aren't cooling down with the roadblocks either. They will still constantly call out roadblocks. And unlike Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2010 and Hot Pursuit 2, if you touch a spike strip, that's it. There is no recovery from that. Oh my God. Yet you can recover from blowing up with the barrel. But there's still one more thing that the helicopter has up its sleeve. Fuck! Dog, I couldn't even react to that! Yeah, it throws missiles. Now, people may not like this because Need for Speed The Run has stuff like this with helicopters that shoots at them and other stuff like that. The difference between Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 and The Run is that The Run is scripted. The beauty of Hot Pursuit 2 is it's a chance. Sometimes you can probably go a full race, all 5 laps, without even having to deal with the helicopter. You'd be lucky if that happened, because now you have an actual high chance of winning. Once these police max out, it's genuine hell. You get 4 stars within the first or second lap, and if you have 4 to 5 laps, you have half or over half of the race to try and survive. Now, there is a chance at the end of the race, the cops will maybe just forget it and say that it's getting too dangerous, let's leave them alone.
28 County. I'm ending this pursuit in the interest of public safety.
Acknowledged. Pursuit terminated. Local patrols, pursuit terminated. Pursuit terminated.
That doesn't happen super often, but it does happen. Only at the end of the race, when you're like near the finish line. But really though, 4 laps, 5 laps of this? No, 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 no. Oh my God. You are capable of playing as the police in this game, but it's kind of mediocre. The first time you play as a cop, you play in a cruiser. You have roadblocks, you have helicopters. You have to arrest the racers in a certain amount of time. You don't have any abilities except for nitro. Cops are the only people in the game that has nitro. And it doesn't have a cooldown either. The cooldown is as soon as it's done, you can use it again. The weird part about it though is it's on R3 instead of L3. Why isn't it with the analog that I move around with? That's weird. You have to remember that the acceleration is on X. But the cops are by far the fastest things in the game thanks to nitro. And it's super, super hard to control these cars while using nitro. It is not easy at all. You have little to no control over the car. Now, the only other thing is every single time that the cops call out roadblocks or spike strips, helicopters, you hear it on the comms.
19-9. We've got spikes on the left.
County all patrols. Spike strip is deployed.
But the thing is, sometimes they will say that the spike strip is on the right, but realistically it's in the middle.
Spike strip is deployed on the right.
County all patrols. The spike strip is set.
27 County. I'm out of commission.
It's not on the right, that's the middle. This game's cop system is an absolute work of art, and I love that they don't just hold your hand. There is scaling, and they don't just throw out everything at the beginning of the game. They show you just enough to let you know and warn you that you have to actually be able to drive and play good inside of this game. And I like that compared to other games that we have nowadays. When you finally manage to beat this stuff and get through it after struggling for so long, it's an amazing feeling. It makes you feel like that you're actually good, that you actually have some kind of skill, like you're talented. You can feel proud of yourself after winning. The cars that you start off with is very stiff and heavy. Trying to go max speed and navigate through the curves, you just constantly hit the walls. Typically race games, you start off with a slow car, but it makes you appreciate the faster car more, especially if you can feel that sense of speed. Being able to just blow through everything flawlessly with the McLaren F1 while still having to try to control the car through certain types of curves. It's a good feeling. This game is the reason why the McLaren F1 is my #1 all-time favorite car. It's my dream car. If I was Bill Gates rich, I would buy the McLaren F1. But this game has a few different type of races. They have knockout races, circuit, time attack, sprint, and tournament. Knockout is by far the worst one out of all of them. One of the issues with Hot Pursuit 2 is how much time it takes to win a race. It takes so much time to finally finish a race. Some of them can be like 10 minutes, maybe even 12. Realistically, even more than that. The first knockout race that you do, or one of the first knockout races that you do, is going to be by far the worst in the entire game. The map sucks. Desert Heat is a horrible map. The Canyon maps in general is just terrible. And the reason for it is because of how wide the tracks are, how much space there really is on the road. And the shortcuts just suck too, except for one of them. But the shortcuts genuinely aren't good things. And if you mess up the shortcut, congrats, you have to restart the entire race. This knockout race has 2 laps, but you have to do it 3 times. You have to win the race. Well, technically, you don't have to be in first place, but come on. If you're not in first place, can you really call yourself a winner? And knockout races isn't the only race where you don't have to be in #1. You could be in #2 and still unlock things and progress. But still, come on. You want to be #1 so you can feel like an actual winner. When it comes to this knockout race, 2 laps, 3 minutes for each lap. Sometimes can probably be longer depending on how aggressive the police are being. And then you have to do this 3 times over. That's at least 18 minutes. And it could be way longer depending on how many times you had to restart. Because these AI, both cops and racers, are absolutely no joke. All races may take a long time, but knockout races and tournament races are by far the longest. Sometimes knockout is longer than a tournament. There's 3 different kind of knockout races, which the first knockout race that you do, you have to play in the same map 3 times too. It's not different maps that you're playing on. Win the race, one of the players gets eliminated, and then you're back inside the same map again for the 2nd and 3rd time. The other knockout type is the regular type of knockout, where each lap a player is eliminated. that's the way that I would much prefer it than this other cornball way. And the third way, it's the same way as the first one, except where you're in different maps, which I also prefer that rather than having to do the same map over and over and over, especially if I hate the map. With tournaments, you can have as far as 8 races in one tournament. That can take a while. Even if you're using the fastest car in the game, that can still take a while. And again, you don't have to get first place in every single race, but if you want to feel like you're actually the ultimate racer, then why not go for that number 1? With the final race that you're gonna have to do in the game, you have to do 6 laps, and it's called the Ultimate Road Racer. You get max heat by time you're in 3rd lap. So you have to go through 3 laps trying to survive against absolute chaos and not mess up. Try to drive perfectly, genuinely becoming the ultimate road racer. I really loved playing this game. It was a lot of fun. It was stressful sometimes, even with the Carrera GT, the first time I used the Carrera GT. That was a stupidly difficult race to the point where I had to take a whole day off just to come back and still lose. But after beating it, I felt good. I was happy that I won. I felt like I actually earned it. It wasn't just handed to me. It wasn't just an easy thing because the bots in the game sucks. It was an actual challenge, and I like that. I think this game has aged pretty well for a game that's 23 years old. Hot Pursuit 2 has given me a lot as a kid with favorite types of cars and the types of cars that I'm into in general. The gameplay being very fun and intriguing, intense, thrilling, damn near the whole way through, even if it does get a little bit annoying sometimes. So I don't think that this game was just nostalgia, because I genuinely had fun. One game I did not have fun with though. You know, if you made it this far, you might as well just subscribe. I yap a lot. Need for Speed Underground. The same year that Midnight Club 2 released. I never played Midnight Club 2. I should have. I used to always love Underground, and I always wondered why no one really spoke about this game. They only ever spoke about Underground 2, and then I played Underground. This game has aged poorly. It's quite boring and forgettable. I see why nobody talks about Underground. The races are repetitive. The maps are also repetitive and forgettable. The story, I played this like a week ago, and I don't even remember anything about the story. Do not play this at 3 a.m. because you will get flash banged out the ass. The cutscenes are horrible. We've strayed away from the high-speed chases and exotic cars. No more Lambos, no more Ferraris. It's now Hondas and Toyotas and other shitboxes. You don't need police in a game to make the game fun. The Crew 2 is probably top 5 racers for me. But in this game, it just fell quite flat. It just felt dry. There were some cool things, and I like that they actually tried to do something different. You can see the art, it just wasn't executed that well. There's only shitboxes. Besides the Nissan Skyline and probably the Toyota Supra are the only 2 cars that I can really think of off the top of my head. This game is more about looking cool and tuner culture. This was around the time where Fast and Furious was becoming more mainstream and popular. The only memorable thing about Underground is the customization, because you're able to tune your cars quite well and customize your cars quite well too. Being able to turn your basic shitbox into a fully decked out shitbox, going from slow car to really fast car while using the same car. And being able to say, hey look, I turned this basic car into this awesome cool looking car all by myself. You're the reason why your car looks cool. You're the reason why your car goes fast. Now, fast may be an overstatement because realistically, you do not feel any sense of speed. You don't genuinely feel like you're going that fast unless you're playing Drag Race. In fact, Drag Race is the only fun event out the entire game, at least in my opinion. I don't like to do drift events. I'm pretty biased with that. Drift events are boring. I want to go fast. The game is called Need for Speed, and I am lacking that speed. This is a snooze fest. Great customization. That's about it. Onward to Need for Speed Underground 2. Need for Speed Underground 2. This game is actually way more fun than Underground 1. I do think that they have done everything way better than 1, and it's only 1 year apart, and the difference in quality is insane. But I know I'm gonna catch fire for this. You might need to take a seat when I say this. I don't think this game has aged well. Listen, I know, okay, it is a peak game. When it released, it was absolute peak, don't get me wrong, But in this day and age, it's just not that fun.
However, there is a lot of positives for a certain amount of time.
With Need for Speed in general, this was the first open world game that they released, and the open world is beautiful. Being able to start off with the 240 SX. Underground 2 is the reason why I like the NSX, that and the RSX. The nitrous is better than Underground. Being able to actually control the car when you're using nitrous 2, being allowed to feel a sense of speed, and the customization, it goes so far. It is extremely technical. The levels of customization that you're allowed to do, it's amazing. The difficulty is also there too. Being able to freely roam around this beautiful city, admire the view, admire your car, look at your creation, be on the front page of magazines, aura farming. The story is still hot ass. I don't even know what the hell is going on in the story still. I mean, the cutscenes are better, at least. That's something. Something that I do love and hate in this game is how dirty I have to play in order to get wins in this game. I don't think I've ever had to play this dirty in my life. And I would include Mario Kart, but I never played Mario Kart before. There's a difference between fun hard and just unfair hard. This is kind of unfair hard because the cars that you go against sometimes doesn't make any sense, especially so early in the game. I'm still in a 240 SX.
Is that a GTR? Why am I going to, like, this is what I mean. How am I supposed to beat a GTR right now? A Skyline?
Why the hell am I going against a Nissan Skyline? Isn't that an end game car? Me having to pit maneuver these cars over and over again just to get a win, barely scraping by, having to restart over and over and over again. The only true positive thing about Underground 2, at least to me, genuinely, is just the customization. And I'm kind of a lazy guy. I don't want to spend all that time customizing my car. Sure, customizing my car and tuning it exactly how I want it to be tuned is a cool concept, but I just want to drive and go fast. I feel like if I actually enjoyed tuning to this degree, I would enjoy sim racing games. I'd probably like Gran Turismo way more. Some of the races got to upgrade too. The drag race, even though I liked the drag race in Underground 1, the shifting was kind of weird, but the shift actually feels good in this game. The drifting, I still hate the drifting, but the difference between Underground 2 and Underground 1 drifting, you actually have other cars around you in Underground 2, while in Underground 1, it's just yourself drifting while still going against other people's points. But I still find it boring anyway. Underground 2 isn't immediately boring like Underground 1. It takes a little bit more to become stale in here. It's not as far as repetitive, but it's just like, it feels like it's missing something still. The open world is cool. The world looks beautiful. There's no quick travel, so you're gonna be spending quite a bit of your time traveling to every single destination that you have to go to. And the progression in here is just so slow. I like long games, but the progression of trying to gain speed is the issue for me. And you gotta remember, the cars that you're going against, if you're in hard mode, I don't know if it was just something I did wrong, but the cars that I was going against was insane. It was actually ridiculous. It felt good when I was beating them, and you have to customize your car in order to go further. You don't have a choice. You have to customize your car, add all kinds of stuff to it in order to get more parts and progress further or get better parts. But there is workarounds for it, like you can purchase another car and just add a bunch of random bullshit to it to increase your star rating. I would go way more in depth, but Underground 2 has been talked about like a lot. Underground 1 was boring the whole way through, but in Underground 2, it was fun for a while and then it just became stale. I'm not sorry. Good game, but in this day and age, it's not that well. It is what it is. I still love the game. I just don't think it's that much fun. 2005 was packed with quite a few bangers for race games, but the first one that I want to start off with is Midnight Club 3. I think this is one of the best arcade races of all time. From the graphics, the chaos, the sense of speed, actual likable characters, a very simple yet irrelevant story.
It's all about becoming the hottest racer in the streets.
The more you win, the more other people want to challenge you and prove that they're a better racer than you, only to get obliterated. Midnight Club 3 is genuinely the definition definition of speed and chaos. When I first started playing the game, I was kind of bored. I was thinking to myself, I don't remember it being this slow, this simple. I was dominating people in the first few races. I felt like I was gonna have to spend an hour or two getting to the meat and potatoes of the game, the actual chaos. And then they took the training wheels off. See, they're gonna hold your hand for probably like the first 20 minutes. After that, you have to fight God, and there is no exception. You either strive or die. They will not let you breathe anywhere. It doesn't matter what you are doing, what type of car you have, how fast your car is, they don't care. They're out for blood. Yo, Vanessa! You start off in Midnight Club with something that seems slow. Like you're just doing these slow type of races. Everything seems normal. And then you unlock speed. You genuinely start going fast. Your slow car that you thought was actually a slow car is a spaceship. This thing zooms, it pushes, it pulls. And I like that. I find that exciting. Being able to actually go fast at the beginning of the game and only get faster as you progress. And trust me, you will get faster. It's gonna make the beginning of the game seem like an absolute joke with the speed that you were going, the chaos that you were dealing with at the beginning. You're gonna look back and be like, I can't believe I was stressing over that. That was nothing. Because now you actually have to stress. There is tiers with the cars. It goes from D to A. D being the lowest, A being the highest. There's different types, which is tuners, exotics, muscle cars, luxury sedans, SUVs, choppers, and sports bikes. There is a grand total of 94 vehicles, which can be quite overwhelming. I only genuinely care about the exotics and tuners. Those are my favorites. I don't like SUVs, and I don't mean just in this game. I mean in general. I'm not a fan of SUVs in real life and in gaming. There's also abilities. There's Zone, Aggro, and Roar, and to be completely honest, you will not care about any of those abilities besides Zone. Zone is the only useful ability in this entire thing. Zone is specifically towards tuners and exotics. There's some luxury sedans that can use Zone, but Zone is basically the slow down time type of thing from Need for Speed Most Wanted. That's all that is. I barely ever use this ability. I don't think I've ever had this many close calls in my life when it comes to racers. Wait, what? What? These bots seriously work you. Like, the challenge here is ridiculous. The difficulty is ridiculous. And I know I was complaining about Need for Speed Underground 2, how the type of difficulty over there seems unfair because of the cars that they use. But in here, it genuinely doesn't feel like that. It more so feel like you just have to drive better. Like, it doesn't matter what car they're using because they can use the same car as you, but be a lot more efficient, which I'm perfectly fine with that. And there is quote unquote bosses, but all races are hard. It doesn't matter what type it is, it will be difficult. The bosses are named people: Caesar, Vanessa, Phil. You can beat them and they're gonna want to rematch you later with an upgraded vehicle.
Look like the lady wants another piece of you, and this time she means it. She definitely put some work into her ride. She's gonna teach you a lesson, issy.
Which I find that kind of cool personally. But in order to progress, you have to beat them. You have to beat them and you have to do tournaments. There's many variants of races too, but majority of the time, you're just gonna be doing circuits and sprints. It doesn't take long to climb, but at the same time, it really can, depending on how much you mess up. There is very well customization within here. It's not consistent, and what I mean by that is that some cars have body kits to them, and then some of them don't. It's like a lot do, but a lot don't. It's kind of weird. All cars still have enough to customize on them. But me being the lazy person that I am, I barely want to do that anyway, so it works out in my favor. Really, I loved everything about Midnight Club 3, except for one thing, and I really must go on this tangent. See, I decided to do one of the tournaments dedicated to muscle cars. I just wanted to try muscle cars. This was around the time I was doing B tier cars. With B tier cars, the highest speed on the meter is 250. I decided, why not? Let me do dedicated muscle car races. That was by far the biggest mistake of my life. When you first start the game, you start in cars with a max speed of 175. At least on the meter. Then by the time you get to B class, you have 250. Why the actual hell is muscle cars back down to 175 in B tier? It's a B tier car that I bought and it's at 175. You know, I thought that some muscle cars would be like maybe in the 2000s or something like that, like the Mustang, but even the Viper, the Dodge Viper, is set as a tuner car instead of a muscle car. All muscle cars in the game is old cars and they suck. The control controlling suck, the speeds suck, they're boring, the races suck, the routes inside the races suck. I hate it. This was the only thing in the entire game that was getting me to feel extremely mad and extremely frustrated. Now, I will admit, one time I was a dumbass. What I mean by that, one of the races, there's these big ass jumps, and I didn't know that you can control the car mid-air. I'm pretty sure there was something in the control settings that said something about weight transfer or weight distribution, and I probably got told it in a tutorial, but I can't remember because I was playing the game at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I was having a nuclear meltdown playing this game, trying to do muscle cars, and I already don't like muscle cars in general, but this just made me more angry. Why is there so many jumps with this fucking car? You are not no fucking Eagle. Yes, I get it. It's an American muscle car, but holy shit, stop with the jumps. Holy shit. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I hate muscle cars. This shit is trash. I don't think there's anything else in this game that will make me crash out more than these Yes, yes, thank you, truck. Thank you. Dog. Why is he so fast? Why can't I control this car? Why? Seriously, who the thought? Yeah, let's make muscle cars all old ass cars. Cause why not, right? Fuck you, that's why. Dog, it makes no sense. It actually makes no sense. Why are these cars so ass? I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna scream. There you go, I lost the race. Hee hee, XD, haha. Lost it, haha. He's just gone. I legit cannot catch up to him. And then these cars that pass the fucking street, when only I pass, they pass the street. They don't get hit by the goddamn car. But when I pass the street, there's a car that just passed through the intersection. What kind of bullshit is this? I'm actually I'm so close to just losing my shit over this damn game. Please just let me get out this. Let me stop doing muscle cars, man. Let me finish this shit. Is at the bus already? Holy shit, man. Yes, pump my car more. That'll get you somewhere in life. Why am I shit talking to CPU? Oh, off I go, apparently. I need to get off muscle cars. I just have to get off muscle cars. That was my fault, but I think that I'll take it as a sign. Yeah, not a fun time. I think that the difficulty, how much it works you, how much it forces you to play good is wonderful. Overall, I love this game and it was very fun. The next game I want to talk about is Burnout Revenge. I never really hear people talk about Revenge. I only ever hear people talk about Paradise. In fact, I don't hear people talk about any Burnout game besides Paradise. I don't think I've once heard somebody mention Revenge. I think that Revenge is overall better than Paradise. Midnight Club 3 was chaos in speed. This game is pure destruction in speed. That's Burnout's whole thing, being extremely destructive while also being super fast. There's not much to talk about when it comes to Burnout Revenge. It has much, but at the same time it doesn't have much, if that makes any sense. When you first start playing Burnout, the first race you're gonna do is called Traffic Attack. And all this is just literally attacking as much traffic vehicles as you can. Rack up as much property damage as you can to get the gold medal. You can only destroy traffic cars from behind. You cannot do it on the side. You can't do it from in front. So you are required to give the cars back shots in order to take them out. So driving on ongoing road is a no-go because you will just get obliterated and waste time. And as you take out cars, the timer goes up. Very simple, very easy mission. But the second one is a time attack. This is no joke. This time attack was hard. It's the second level in the entire game. Why is it so difficult? You have to reach the end goal in such a short amount of time. And you really have to figure it out yourself on how you're gonna maintain the speed, maintain your nitro, The key to doing it is driving on the ongoing road, even though they tell you that that's the wrong way. You drive on ongoing road, you get boost. You basically get an infinite boost. Your nitro don't run out. There is no tutorials. Burnout shows you the very minimum of what you have to do. They don't even tell you your controls, besides the boost button, I think. You have no control layout. You can't even go to the options and see your controls. You genuinely have to figure out 90% of the stuff yourself. And I'm a person that skips tutorials because I'm too lazy to go through a tutorial. So it works out for me, but I love that there's little to no hand holding in the entire game. The time attack is super stressful. It's super difficult, but it's very rewarding when you win. Struggling so long just to finally win, and then you realize, wait, I'm on the second level. It gets worse. It won't really get easier. It'll only get harder. Some levels are easier than others, of course, but overall, you're going to be struggling more. The next thing you're going to have to do is crash, which you have to fly into traffic and try to cause as much of a chain reaction as you can to get a certain amount of money and property damage to get the gold medal. And this one's, it's not bad. It's my least favorite out of all of them, and it's the second most difficult thing in the game. In my opinion, at least. This is the second most difficult thing. And if you like this sort of thing, you can always try to get a new record or a personal new record. Even try to go for a world record, because it doesn't end once you get the gold medal. You can keep racking up points if you want, which is the beauty of it. Another race type is road rage. You have to take out as many racers as you can in a certain amount of time. It's not hard. It's probably the easiest one that you can do, in my opinion. By far the easiest one that you can do. And just like demolition, you could just try to have your own personal best if you want. Not much to take home with it. And then you have your regular racing, except it's not really regular because you can take out the AI and the AI can take out you. And trust me, they will try to take you out. They will obliterate you. These AI, they're not nice at all. My first official race, at the beginning of the race, a car took me out. And then I learned something.
Oh, I get it. I just got revenge on him. Oh, I did the thing. I did the thing. That's crazy.
That's where the name Revenge comes from. I don't know why I find that so fascinating, so cool. That put a smile on my face when I figured it out. And then the last thing is elimination, which is basically knockout, except the way this works is it has a timer. You got 30 seconds. The person in last place will be eliminated. So you go from 6 players to 5 players, and then who's ever in 5th place will be eliminated until there's only one left standing. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And there's a total of 169 events. There's no customization besides, you know, changing your car or changing the color of your car. But there are some unique cars. Like one of them, I was very surprised when I heard the gear shift.
Yeah, look at this pin action. Oh.
Is that the gearbox that I'm hearing? There's zero story. It is just racing and destruction. And it doesn't get boring either. At least it didn't get boring for me. Yeah, it's that simple on paper, but when you actually play the game, it's a whole different story. This is why Burnout Revenge is by far one of my all-time favorite games too. And when it comes to Need for Speed Most Wanted, I feel like everyone knows this game. Literally everyone. I'm not taking a deep dive into this game. I could make like a 3-hour video on this game alone. But considering everyone and their grandma already knows everything about this game, I'm only gonna talk about it briefly. Even after 20 years, I still think that Most Wanted lives up to its hype. From the story, to the gameplay, to the chaos, all of it. I still had a lot of fun playing this game. And the cutscenes may be goofy. They are kind of goofy. Mia is fine shit, and so is that one girl from the cutscene. I will not elaborate or tell you which one. I will just let you guess. The whole story in general is honestly not bad. The story isn't bad. It's just the cutscenes are a little bit goofy. The way the game starts off with Razor threatening to take our car and our girl. So we already know who the villain is, who the rival is.
First, I'm gonna take your ride, then I'm gonna take your girl. Get ready for that.
And they start you off with one of the most badass scenes ever.
Attention Patrol Division, we have reported at least one mobile Code 6 driver followed by police.
I need all available units on this. Get them going, Code 3.
And the thing is, this scene slips into you actually playing the game. It was so smooth. But how it goes, as you know, Razor sabotages us because we had too much aura, we were winning too many races, and we had a baddie on our side. He knew we were gonna dust him in our GTR. After sabotaging us, he gets to #1 spot on the blacklist using our car. So the goal is to climb all the way up the blacklist, defeat all 14 bosses until you finally have to defeat Razor. Very simple story. Progression isn't too much of a hassle. Now you gotta remember, Most Wanted came out a year after Underground 2, which is a phenomenal upgrade with gameplay, mechanics, feel, all of it. It is by far one of the biggest upgrades, one of the biggest glow ups of all time. A lot of issues that I had with Underground 2 is completely gone in Most Wanted. The open world, you can choose if you want to drive to your destination or not. You actually have the choice of driving to destinations. There's only 33 cars. We have Lambos and Porsches back. The customization is still insane. We have cops back. Now, to keep all of this as simple and short as I can, winning races in Most Wanted is actually a lot easier than I remember it used to be. I remember struggling on a lot of the races back in the day, but it's actually pretty easy. The only hard thing realistically is dealing with the cops. I went from blacklist number 15 all the way up to blacklist number 5 in a span of in between 5 to 8 hours. You know the reason why I went that hard? Not only because I was just having fun, but I wanted to see when will it start to get difficult. Yeah, sure, there were some races that I had to restart, but overall I was winning more than I was losing. One of my favorite things about the blacklist race is the fact that you can take their car. It's not guaranteed to take their car, but it's a possibility. You win the pink slip, you take their car. And the blacklist members' cars actually isn't trash. It's good. And another thing that's amazing is that trying to build speed doesn't take a long time. You build speed a lot quicker than you did in Underground 2. You unlock nitrous after your first blacklist race. And to fight these blacklist racers, you have to do a certain amount of races. You have to do a certain amount of milestones. You don't have to do all the races, but you can. I personally want to go through all of them before I decide to fight the blacklist member, but you have a choice whether you do or you don't. Now the milestones, however, you kind of have to do all of them because you have to reach a certain bounty. You can't bypass cops. You have to fight them. And you can't just try to keep your heat low either, because some milestones require you to be at like heat level 4. Like one of them requires you to dodge spike strips, and you're not going to see spike strips unless you are at heat level 4. Mind you, the highest heat level is 5. They want you to suffer because once you get to heat level 3, things start to kick up. Heat level 1, heat level 2 is kind of forgettable. Heat level 1, they genuinely just let you do whatever you want. Heat level 2 is when they start calling in more roadblocks, and they also have undercover cars. But heat level 3, that's where the rhinos come in. And then heat level 4, you have to deal with harder roadblocks because they have rhinos as the roadblock with spike strips. You also get helicopters chasing you too. And then you have heat level 5, the max heat level. Yeah, good luck. And the thing about these heat levels, the higher you go in the heat level, the more cops will roam the streets and the harder it will be for you to go on cooldown once you finally evade the cops. Now, one of the amazing, beautiful parts is that, yeah, your car is high on heat, but you can go to the customization shop, change parts, change the color of your car, do all of that, and that will lower your heat. But again, you might want to keep that heat anyway because there's milestones that require high heat. The game is called Most Wanted, and you genuinely cannot dodge cops. You have to fight them. And that's the most difficult thing about this entire thing. The races are simple. They're not too hard. Yeah, there's some trouble, but overall, the police is the biggest problem, and they're not dumb either. Do I think they're as bad as Hot Pursuit 2? I think they're really close, in my opinion. I don't think that it's harder than Hot Pursuit, but I do think that they are practically the same thing, and no other Need for Speed is near it. Some people say Rivals, but Rivals was buggy and barely worked. I barely have any memory of Rivals. Overall, after no-lifing the game, I still think it's extreme fun. It still has that difficulty. It still has that enticing story. It's just the cutscenes are goofy. One of the few race games that actually doesn't have a bad story. Overall, I had fun, even though I struggled a lot, got caught off guard by some of the police. What? Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Definitely some of the smartest cops of all time. But I really did enjoy my time. All of it. I loved it. Yes, Ridge Racer 6. One of the first games I played on a new gen console at the time, the Xbox 360. Speaking of which, I remember when I was just a jit, or as the British would say, just a todger. I remember playing Sonic Unleashed. I used to love Sonic Unleashed. I had to go to my aunt's house for a weekend, sleep over there. I come back home, ready to play my Sonic Unleashed, super excited. I turn on my Xbox 360 and I somehow magically have the red ring of death. Ever since then, I have held a grudge against Xbox. I have never bought an Xbox product ever again in my life. And I still never will. I never forgave them for that day. Anyway, Ridge Racer 6. This racer is very unique. I haven't really met people that even knows what Ridge Racer 6 is. And honestly, it's kind of understandable. And it's not that this is a bad racer. In fact, it's one of my favorite racers. It's just similar like how Burnout Revenge doesn't have that much going on for it. This has even less going for it. It is the most straight arrow race game that you will ever stumble upon, or probably one of them. There's no story. There's little to no customization. There isn't much diversity when it comes to the races in the game. There's over 200 events and all of them are kind of the same. This is truly an arcade racer. They don't even call the cars cars. They call them machines. And there's 4 classes with 3 different type of vehicles. You have mild, standard, and dynamic. Dynamic cars are probably the hardest to control. You do one corner, it feels like you're about to flip the entire car. My favorite is standard. I feel like that's the easiest to control. Mild and standard, they both feel similar, but standard just flows a little bit better for me. The type of racing that you're doing in here isn't your typical type of racing. What you're focusing on is your drifting and how you utilize your nitro. And it is one of the most satisfying things ever. Hitting the curves at Mach speed with these clean drifts. It's euphoric. Learning how to drift in here and learning how to utilize your nitro isn't difficult, but at the same time, it kind of is. When you first start drifting, you're going to be very, very confused. The AI, they're not super difficult. I would say they're mid type of difficulty in Ridge Racer 6. It's something that's weird about Ridge Racer 6 and 7, honestly. If you were to unlock a machine, it'll tell you you've unlocked a brand new machine. Realistically, no, you didn't, because all it is just a machine that you already had unlocked, but just a different colorway. I don't know why the hell they decided to do that, but that's very weird. The other thing that I think is pretty bad about Ridge Racer 6 is the colors. It's very dim. It's not vibrant. It doesn't look pretty or anything like that. Ridge Racer 6 was 360 exclusive. Ridge Racer 7 released the next year, and that was PS3 exclusive. And they're kind of the same thing, but they're different. 7 is way better than 6. The HUD is better, and the main missions or campaign, you have tuning now. The AI is way harder. There was a map that I was doing, Sunset Heights. I was stuck racing on this map for about an hour or 2. Just all I wanted to do was be in first place. I thought that maybe I just sucked because I was still trying to utilize my nitro better, or learn how to do that, master the art of using the nitro and then hitting the drift. So I went back to Ridge Racer 6 and I played on the same map and I won first try. The AI in 7 is genuinely no joke. I don't know what kind of lines they gave them, but they are on something else. Visually with 7, it is way more vibrant in coloring and it just feels better overall. Surprisingly, there's still people that play Ridge Racer 7 online too. It's not a huge community, it's not super active, but there is people. Overall, Ridge Racer 6, Ridge Racer 7, they're both very bare bones. I still love the game, still had fun. I don't think this is a type of game for everybody. I don't know if I would highly recommend it, but I would recommend to try it. It's something different. It's unique, from the designs of the machines, the way the HUDs look. The speedometers, there is no other speedometer in any other racer that is as cool and as good looking as Ridge Racer. That's just my personal opinion. I love them more than any other race game I've played. Very simple, but you can tell that there is definitely some love put into this. We're still in 2006, and it's time for Need for Speed Carbon. I actually never played Need for Speed Carbon back in the day, so this is my first time ever playing it. Brand new game for me, brand new playthrough, and I must say, this was disappointing. Going from Most Wanted to Carbon is one of the biggest disappointments of all time. If I waited a year for this and I played this, I'd probably stick a spoon in the microwave. The reason why I never played this in the first place was because it just didn't look that appealing to me, so I never bought it. And it seems like I made the right choice. because this is genuinely one of the biggest downgrades of all time, going from pure excitement to just a snooze fest. And again, this is just me, but Carbon is such a watered down version of Most Wanted. You had literal peak, literal perfection, and then just threw that all away besides the skin. It's you, but it's not you. It's a completely different person now. This should have just been called Need for Speed The Crew because it heavily focuses on this crew mechanic where you can hire a crew member and they have some kind of ability that they use to help you out during the race. And I'm gonna be so brutally honest with you, it doesn't matter. This ability bullshit, it doesn't matter at all. It's not even remotely important. You can go practically the entire game and never use this ability. I didn't use it once. I don't even remember what half of the abilities do. I just remember the blocker. And shout out Neville, he's the coolest guy within the entirety of Carbon. Very chill guy, #1 hype man. I respect Neville. Neville is the only reason why I continued to play this. It just felt so boring, so lackluster. When you start off, you're in your GTR, but the GTR just feels so heavy with the curves. Trying to turn just feels horrible. And yeah, sure, there is other cars that can have better handling, but overall, the handling in Carbon compared to Most Wanted is trash. Carbon is way shorter. We went from this long game to this short one. You can complete this in one sitting very easily. No breaks at all. You can complete Carbon. The races are way easier. They were already kind of easy in Most Wanted, but here it is piss easy. You can play this with your feet and probably still win, no problem. The only thing that was even remotely a challenge was the bosses. And even then, they suck. They try to mix Underground with Most Wanted instead of having just like a fresh type of game. But this one just wasn't it. And oh God, they brought it back. They brought this back. Stop with the drift events. I will admit the drifting events, they are easier. They have better controls than Underground 2 and Underground 1. I'm completely biased. This is just me. I hate drift events. Stop bringing drift events. I just want to race. Cops are no longer a thing. I went over half the game and I can count on one hand how many times I had to deal with the cops. They are almost non-existent. They don't matter. We're stuck in nighttime again, which is fine. That saves my eyes, but I like my day cycles. Most Wanted sorta had a day cycle. I would say it had a half day cycle. It looked like it was changing, but it wasn't really changing. But the colors changed enough to the point where it looked like the days were actually changing. It made it seem darker, as if it was becoming nighttime. Even if it was for a little period of time, it still happened. Carbon, you're just stuck in nighttime. The cutscenes, they're still goofy. They're still this cornball kind of cutscenes, but the story sucks. It is so much worse than Most Wanted, and it is quite confusing at first too. And even after you start to understand the story a little bit, there is zero hype. It still sucks. I like little to nothing about Carbon, and I think I've only said things that I dislike, but there are very little things that I do like, which at the beginning, when you start, you get your own car. After you lose the GTR again, you're capable of starting off with the RX-8. I think that's cool. That's about it. I genuinely can't think of anything else positive, but it still has my respect. And the reason why it has my respect is because I'm fully capable of understanding if they just released another Most Wanted, sure, it would have been popular, but if they keep doing that over and over and over again, it's gonna become repetitive. So I understand them trying to do something different rather than do the exact same thing, but this type of formula just didn't work. But Carbon just seems unfinished. It's missing so much. After being in a drought for 2 years, Midnight Club LA releases. And to be honest, when it comes to Midnight Club, people only talk about 2 and 3. No one ever talks about LA. I have not met or heard a single person utter the words Midnight Club LA. Not once in my life. And I remember buying this when it first came out, but that's all I really remember. So this is somewhat of a new run for me, new experience, and I loved it. This is genuinely a forgotten gem. And I know why it's been a forgotten gem. When it released, it was buggy. That is something that I do recall. There were some bugs with it. The optimization isn't the best, but aside from that, everything else, the way the game functions, the mechanics, the feel, the environment, almost every single thing about LA is wonderful. We once again have somewhat of a story. There is more characters here, and the characters are actually likable. Again, they have struck gold, likable characters. In a racing game, there is an actual main character that you can see rather than it just be your point of view and you're just this quiet guy. But the main character doesn't have a name, so we're just gonna call him Matthew. All he cares about is going fast and getting money. He's basically like Goku. Goes around looking for races. Hey, I heard you were pretty fast. I want to race.
Hey, my friend Carol. He said you might know some races.
You'll meet a few people in LA, and honestly, personally, I haven't seen or found one person that I dislike. And the jokes that they crack with each other, some of them are actually funny. Some of them manage to make me giggle or laugh.
You about to learn what LA is all about, baby. What? Eating disorders and therapy?
It's like your friends actually just shit talking you and you shit talk back. I like that. And a customization, there's even more customization here. So you have more options for your vehicles. It gets pretty technical with it. So if you actually feel like pimping out your ride, you are fully capable of doing it. And it is not difficult in the slightest. And instead of 94 cars, there's actually 67, which I'm perfectly fine with because having 94 can be a little bit overwhelming. The only sad part about it is that there's no McLaren F1, but there is a Celine S7, which looks similar to a McLaren F1. And you do have abilities again, but there's one new ability, which is EMP, and all the abilities, they aren't strict to the car type. So now zone can be applied to literally any vehicle you want, but I don't care about the abilities, and I don't even know what EMP does, to be completely honest with you. I forgot. Now, starting off in Midnight Club LA, you have 3 options for a car, which is 2 Volkswagens and a 240 SX. I'm just basic. I went with the 240 SX. Now, the car that you start with can last you quite a while, and the reason for that is if you start off with the D-class car, you can upgrade your car to the next class, depending on how many upgrades you've given it. So no matter what car you buy, it can last a while and it can be very useful too. Now, the races. Once again, when you first start doing races, Midnight Club gives you false hope. They make you think that you're gonna have a really easy time because you are dominating, and it just makes you feel like, okay, well, I guess this is gonna be an easy playthrough. And then something inside of them just snaps because you're fighting something even above God. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. The AI is like 3 times harder than Midnight Club 3. And I mean that. This is probably the hardest racer I've ever played in my life. I have never struggled and restarted this much in my life in any racer I've ever played. I had way more close calls in LA than I did in Midnight Club 3. And the way the cars feel, it's not as arcadey, but it's still arcadey. Driving in LA is a lot different from 3. It doesn't handle like 3 at all. It genuinely feels like a whole new game, but at the same time, it feels just like a Midnight Club game, if that makes any sense. It's just upgraded out the wazoo. There's a few new race types. You can actually wager in a race now, and you can also do pink slip races. If you don't know, you win the race, you take your opponent's car. You lose the race, well, you're gonna lose your car. And you cannot restart in these races either. If you try to restart, you lose automatically. So once you're in it, that's it. There is a workaround, and that's just to turn the console all the way off or just close the game. That way you can save yourself the embarrassment of losing. But I think it's even more embarrassing if you actually decide to close the game because you were losing. Highway races is probably my favorite to do because it's the easiest and it's genuinely just a sprint. Find somebody on a highway, race them, go from one point to another. That's simple. And usually those are the easiest because if you have a car that pulls, you can get away from them very easily. Cops are more of a threat in LA. They're not too much of a threat, but they can be a little bit annoying. They roam the streets now rather than only seeing them in a race. At least I only saw cops in a race in 3, but here they roam the streets a little bit frequently, especially at night. And that's another thing that I would love to talk about. Midnight Club LA has full day and night cycles. 3 had half-day cycles, somewhat like Most Wanted. The most daytime that you would get is when the sun was setting, but here it's actually full on day and night. And here's the crazy part: it actually affects the game. At nighttime, there's a lot more traffic, especially if you're on a highway. It's rush hour time. So racing on the highway would be a little bit more difficult. But in the daytime, the streets are a little bit more clear. So racing, there's less of a chance to hit cars in traffic. And the environment here, by far the most detailed, best looking city I've ever seen too. Even in today's age with the racers that I see, I think that Midnight Club LA has one of the best details in a city. I genuinely love racing. No matter the time of the day, I love it. The game looks beautiful. The game functions beautifully. Even hearing the gear shifting. Little details like seeing Matthew be happy when he wins. There's real human life too. There's pedestrians. And even hearing your opponents be concerned when you actually crash. So you know that people don't actually dislike you. Yeah, you're always shit talking each other, but at the end of the day, everyone's here for the same thing. Just to race and go fast. That's it. I love how much effort has been put into LA. The difference between 3 and this is genuinely mind-boggling and phenomenal. I'm glad that they kept the whole ideal of you can go any route as long as you hit the checkpoint. You're having a real street race. It's not as arcadey. They did add a little bit of realism to it, but it's not too much to the point where it just feels like some basic ass sim race. If this game were to re-release, better optimized, have higher FPS, up the brightness a little bit, I would pre-order it in an instant. I feel like if LA had just a little bit more time to it, like if they delayed it for a few months, maybe even another year, everybody would be talking about this. This would be one of the legends, probably next to most wanted in my opinion, if they just had more time to work on this so it didn't be so buggy or poorly optimized, because this is genuinely a hidden gem. Lots of fun. I loved it. Every second of it, I loved it. We're now in the year 2010, and my favorite racer of all time releases, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2010. Some people may call it Hot Pursuit 3, either or works to be honest, but this is one of the greatest revamps of all times, one of the greatest comebacks of all time. The last Hot Pursuit that we got was in 2002. 8 years later, we get this masterpiece. And in the background, you're gonna see the remastered version of it, but the original and the remastered are quite literally the same. There is barely any differences within graphics, mechanics, anything. It is practically the same game. EA just wanted a few more dollars. But this racer, I've probably put the most time into and had the most fun with. We once again have zero story, zero dialogue, no cutscenes at all. It is just cops and racers. But I do like this infinitely more than the last Hot Pursuit that we got. This is a very simple game, just like a few of the other racers I've mentioned. But it plays and functions so incredibly well that you kind of forget about how little it genuinely has. The sounds of the cars are phenomenal. The feel of the cars are phenomenal. And you can truly feel the difference of each vehicle that you get your hands on. Some of them may be easy to turn while others may be very, very heavy to turn. The nitrous can be stronger on one vehicle more than the other. There's little to zero customization besides just changing the color of your car. All Hot Pursuit genuinely focuses on is just going fast, legitimately giving you that it's for speed. I mean, starting off in Hot Pursuit, you don't even start with the shit box. You start with the whole ass Porsche. To some people that may not be as cool, but I find it cool. It's still a somewhat slow car, but it's a cool car nonetheless. And you'll only go up from there. There is no circuits. It's only sprint races. I can see that they definitely took notes from Hot Pursuit 2 and smacked it in here, and they did it well, very well. Championship in Hot Pursuit 2 was horrible. It was boring. It was very boring. But here they mix both Championship and Hot Pursuit extremely well. It's still fun to drive when there's no cops around. Not every single race that you're gonna do has cops involved. Hell, even using the cops, not every single cop mission that you do will involve taking down racers. But talking about the racers specifically for now, in Pursuit 2, you had no way to really defend yourself against the police. All you could do is try to survive. And here you actually have abilities. You have 4 abilities. abilities. You have spike strips, jam, EMP, and turbo. Turbo and jam are going to be your two best friends. Jam makes it to where the police can't use any of their equipment, their maps are gone, and anything that they throw down will disappear. Turbo is nitrous on crack. EMP is just basically an invisible projectile. But the thing is about these abilities, you won't always get these. Some races or time trials you'll have to do without any ability at all, or you may have 1 out of 4 of them. It completely depends on what race/mission you are doing. I think that all the races are pretty easy within Hot Pursuit 2010. The only true struggle is time trials, and only some of them can be quite difficult. Some of them are just straight up hard, and others are difficult because cops keep messing you up. Do anything in their power to delay you. And with your abilities, you are capable of using them on other fellow racers if you want to too. You're 100% allowed to do friendly fire. And even though there's no circuits, some of these races can be incredibly long. Some of them can be 5 minutes, some may even be 8 minutes. But it's fun driving the whole time. It never gets boring. At least for me, I never get bored just driving the cars. It's fun. It feels great. Sometimes I just try my best to beat my record. I like setting new personal bests, even if I beat it by like 3 seconds. It makes me excited. It may not be much to other people, but I love everything about it. I love every second of it. The only thing that I do wish is that the AI was a little bit more difficult. I wish they tried harder. I wish they actually made me sweat my balls off to get a win in here. To me, it feels like it's way too easy, but at the same time, I've played Hot Pursuit a mega ton. So I don't know if it's actually that easy for the average player, but for me, I wish there was like an extreme difficulty. Now with the cops, there's a balance between racers and cops, and it's a perfect balance too. There's almost as many cop missions as there is racer missions. And with the police, you also have 4 abilities: helicopter, roadblock, spike strips, and EMP. There's only 2 new abilities when it comes to the police, which is just the roadblock and helicopter. No, the helicopter does not drop any barrels or missiles. They really just drop spike strips. That's it. So helicopters got probably one of the fattest nerfs of all time. Now, there is time trials or time attacks with the police too, but it's different from racers because if you touch any wall or any car, you get a penalty. So I do enjoy doing the time attack with the police too, and taking down the racers can also be pretty fun as well. It's not difficult to do so, but at the same time, it's still fun. Very rarely you're gonna struggle with any mission at all with the police when it comes to dealing with the racers, at least. But time trials, some of them you'll probably struggle with, mainly because if you touch a wall, that's just it. You even scratch a traffic car, that's it. But overall, I love everything about it. The roadblocks are actually useful too. Every tool that you have as a cop is useful, all of them, compared to the last game where using any of that was kind of useless. It's very hard to squeeze through the roadblock. You can barely see where the opening for it is. It's a little bit easier in the early game, but as you progress through, it gets harder and harder to actually be able to blow through it. Both sides do have nitrous, but the great detail that I love is that cops don't have to do certain things to refill their nitrous. They can just do it passively, but still doing near misses, drifting, going through shortcuts, all that kind of stuff can still increase the nitrous a little bit more. But their nitrous also lasts way shorter. Racers, however, you do not passively regen your nitrous. You have to drive on ongoing road, do near misses, drift, shortcuts, etc. If you're driving on the correct side of the road and you've used all your nitrous, you're not getting that back. However, if you're in a hot pursuit race and you take out a cop, your entire nitrous gets filled. There's also dual races too, and those are pretty easy. They can keep up somewhat, but overall, doing the one-on-one races, it's pretty free. There's a version of that with the police side too, where you only have to take down one guy. This can be a little bit tricky, and the reason for that is because it's not a race, so they don't have a designated route. If you're chasing them, they can just pull a whole ass 180 and try to escape from you, wasting a bunch of time, or just go a whole ass separate route you didn't think they were gonna go. sometimes it can be smart. Overall, I love this more than any other racer. It strikes a perfect balance for me between realism and arcade. A perfect balance. I love how everything functions. I just wish that it was a tad bit harder. I just wish that I had to struggle a little bit more. But all the cars are great. Sadly, there's no F40 or F50, but I'm okay with that. Visually, mechanically, the way everything sounds, it's just perfect. I love it. I genuinely love it and had incredible fun. And the memories of Hot Pursuit will never go away from me. No matter how many different racers I play, this one in particular will always stick very deep down. If anybody had a chance to play this, I would highly recommend it. I don't think that every person will like it because it is a very simple racer in terms of what exactly you're supposed to do. But even with it being so simple, it is just so damn phenomenal. I wish Most Wanted would have taken notes because that revamp was horrible. But yeah, 10 out of 10. I love it. Wonderful. And before moving on to the final game, there's one thing that I want to go on a little tangent about, and that's the Wii version of Hot Pursuit 2010. Whoever did this is an absolute criminal. I'll forever hold a grudge. And I only want to go on this tangent because I'm still holding this grudge many years later. Little secret, the first time I actually played the 2010 version of this, it was on the Wii. I was still just a jit. I got it as a Christmas gift and I was super excited to play the game. Mind you, this is the cover for the Wii version. It's identical to every other platform that it released on. So why is the gameplay this? I wouldn't even have been mad if the Wii version had it in like 144p and was lagging real bad. This version is just terrible. They're nowhere near the same thing. It's a completely different game. I'll never forgive them for that. It probably was my own mistake thinking that the Wii could be as powerful as the PS3, but that's still criminal. Whoever greenlit this, I hope that both sides of your pillow is warm every night. You hurt me very dearly as a kid. This is unacceptable. There's so many different things about this one too, but it all sucks. It's terrible. I'm not even gonna go into remotely any detail about this garbage. Horrible. But the final thing that I want to talk about is Blur, and I'm gonna go over this briefly because, being completely honest, Blur is quite mid. I won't say that it's completely unique, but it is sort of unique. All Blur really is, it's just a Burnout, but like Mario Kart. It's a really cool concept, but it was just executed quite poorly. The progression system, I think it's kind of mid. You have to get followers. Even if you get first place in a race, you still most likely probably have to go back and do that race over because you have to do other missions. The more medals you earn, the more you progress and the more you can unlock. I would go over the whole system, but I don't want to. I just don't think it's worth it. The AI in this is extremely difficult. If you play on the hardest difficulty, they will work you very hard. So imagine sitting there racing for an hour, trying to get first place on one single race and then having to go back just because you forgot a task or you couldn't complete that task. It's stupid. But the worst thing about Blur overall is the handling. This is probably one of the worst handling racers I've ever played. Drifting in Blur feels miserable. If there was actual drifting, I think that I would love this so much more. But because the drifting is so terrible, with how poorly executed this is, I would give this game probably like a 5 or a 6. You know, I thought it was car specific. Maybe I'm just using a bad car, but even the cars that has a high drift rate still sucks. Whatever the case may be, I don't think that Blur is that great of a racer. I think it's a very cool idea. I respect the idea, but I wish it was just performed much better. Otherwise, I'd go on the longest rant, the most detailed rant about Blur, but I just don't feel like it's worth it. I wouldn't exactly recommend somebody to play this either, in my personal opinion. I feel like it could have maybe been fun with friends, but again, the handling is just so ass. So what's the point? With all the games that I've gone through, I will say that only 4 was very miserable. Carbon, both Undergrounds, and the Blur. Everything else I had a blast with. So I don't think that it was just nostalgia that played a part in me missing these racers. It kind of just solidifies my opinion that developers cared more about these racers back in the day than they do now. They put so much more time and effort into what they were creating. I mean, you can also say that the demand for these types of racers were high at the time too, but it just feels so special. It's like seeing an artist put so much much time and effort into their art. I really wish we could still get arcade racers like this to be released that can be this cool, this fun, this detailed. I feel like all of it is genuinely just a forgotten beauty. It's a memory that's locked away that'll resurface for you when somebody reminds you that you even have that memory, that it even exists in the first place. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. And if you didn't, take your anger out on the like button and sub button. I'll catch you all next time.